Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for August 9th through 13th, 2021. How are you doing? Wow, still feeling this incredibly powerful Lionsgate portal and new moon in Leo. And the energy it's like a culmination of the last couple of weeks of astrology being our personal planets, Mercury, the Sun, and the Moon, triggering the Saturn Uranus square. Now, the Saturn Uranus square is about how do we build in the new age, what is required, what is limiting our growth, what's keeping us from moving forward. And it all has to do with our conception of wealth. And what we're coming to find out in this very interesting time that we're living in is that most of what we believe to be true and have been taught as true in our history books and our science books and our math, our cosmology, total lies, So it's really good right now to have this Mars and Venus in Virgo. Mars in Virgo is very grounded. It's earthy sign, and it's about discrimination. It's about sorting out what you need, what you don't, simplifying what's essential, what's not essential, and the power of the mind ruled by Mercury. And we definitely need this right now. Like, we got some sorting out to do. And yet we've got this mutable T-square with Mars now coming into a square with the nodes of the moon. So Mars in Virgo square the nodes of the moon. And this is the North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius. And Mars wants to go, right? And the nodes are about how to go and what's holding us back. So there's a tension around finding direction. And that's really confusing for us right now because we're like, wait a minute, our whole reality's a lie. How do you navigate, all this mutable energy? And indeed, it's kind of like this stuck place we've been trying to figure out how to navigate in these new energies. And there's definitely an energy of like, okay, well, if everything you thought was true is false, how can you make guided and trusted decisions, right? And so we're being asked to navigate in a whole new way, basically showing up in the truth in the moment. And so this Virgo discrimination and sorting through things is very powerful for us. But we have to keep in mind of the big picture. And this is being triggered for us with Mercury coming to the end degrees of Leo, opposite of Jupiter. So this is for the next few days and for this week. We've got all of our personal planets, our Venus, Mars, and Mercury, in very powerful transits that coming home into our personal life, the situation in the world. You can't pretend it's not there anymore, So Mercury coming to the end degrees of Leo opposite Jupiter, and Jupiter is like in retrograde back in Aquarius now, but those end degrees of Aquarius trying to expand into the Aquarian age. It's kind of like, who stole our vision? Who stole our future? How did we get here, humanity? How did we get so asleep and so duped? This long-held agenda that is all the lies of all of our fake history and science, all designed for one thing: to keep humanity from knowing its own power and potential. So what that means is that, of course, these truths have to come to light. And we know that we've been waiting for disclosures of these truths and how painful this can be for the psyche of humanity, to be told that all those people you trusted the most and were taught to revere did not deserve one moment of your respect because of their dark acts. And then they're stealing your money to do that. And it's just all these lies upon lies upon lies. A house of cards is beginning to fall. But when we look at the big picture, it's like, oh, this is a long-term agenda to keep humanity knowing its potential. That means that any way you look at it, the future is bright. Now, the way that this control energies have kept humanity down is through psychological control. So it's really important to understand that this is the game right now. Is that these control energies want you to feel hopeless, like you've lost, like everything's going to shit. And, and it's like, no, that's not true. This is about a revolution of light. This is about humanity standing up in their power, taking our world back. There's no way around this. Nothing can stop it. But our battle right now, which is just so excruciating for those of us who have been just showing up and trying so hard, but it's like is the psychological energies, so be really aware. This is where the Virgo energy can help us so much, and be like, you know what? Okay, so how we got here, humanity, is that we bought into the lies. We bought into a fake reality. That means we have to uninvest in that shadow company, right? And it's moment to moment right now. You're being given an opportunity to claim back your mind, your thoughts, your emotional energies. The technological mind control that's being used on all of us right now is based on emotional states. And you can separate these out pretty simply into fear and anxiety and hopeless depression, right? And so those are the energies that you need to watch for and be like, I'm not buying into it. I'm not buying into your gloom and doom. And no, I'm not playing. I'm not going to use my precious psychological energy, my consciousness for your dark agenda anymore. And that's not easy because everybody around you, it's almost like they send out the drones, right? They send out the zombie drones. You get in your power and you're feeling good and you're back into you're like, okay, yeah, I'm going to make it through. And then all of a sudden it's like everybody around you wants to bring you back down. And so, and it's hard because, we're trying to show up in our truth, our spiritual truth. But our spiritual truth is a challenge to all of the zombies and everybody that's completely absorbed in the narrative. So it's this very strange, divergent time. And yet we're being given a gift. And your role here, because you have so much more experience as a soul, you've already gone through spiritual ascension. You have a soul memory on earth of existing and using that full potential. And that is within you. Now, this is the interesting thing that's coming forward. Something to ponder. It's like, okay, so our whole reality is a lie, all designed to keep humanity down, and a slave race so that they can continue to feed on our emotional energies and use our consciousness to create their dark agendas. But what we're finding out is that when it comes, it's like, wait a minute, all of this is wrong, like literally. And then, the reason why this is so, we're stuck in this place of truth disclosure is because the effect when you're in your sleepy state of blissful ignorance and cognitive dissonance, and then you get something comes in and cracks that code, the human condition basically it's a very fragile psyche, and it feels like the ground is dropping from under your feet and you have no bearing. And it's this horrible feeling of like just being completely lost and alone and abandoned, and it's interesting because that's a core level wound in all of humanity, this illusion of separation, so maybe that's the massive healing with this truth disclosure that is going to happen, right? But that period of time of the breaking of the false reality in your world or the world of each of us individually as we go through this process is incredibly frightening. And that's where you come in, supernova souls, because you've gone there. You've done it all, really, and you're here to hold space for this transition. And that means you got to find that place within you where nothing can stop this. That this has gone on for thousands of years, and now we're seeing it play out. That means it's almost over. And we have to choose and set our vibration at that place where the future is bright. There's no way around it. This is not about the failure of humanity to overcome. This is about humanity getting back its rightful place in the universe. And nothing can stop that. We've already tipped the scales energetically. And I think that's what we're feeling with this Lionsgate energy. It's kind of like something's different, but can't quite tell what it is. And so, see, because what I'm sensing is that it's a little bit easier to understand and maintain your own frequencies in your brain. Maybe there's been a takedown of satellites that were part of the mind control technology grid. But use this to your advantage. Use this light coming in, this spark, this crack in the code to just continually set your truth and your vibration no matter what is going on around you. And it's like, okay, this is all fake, but I know what's real. You know, the power of your soul and everything you've gone through to be here right now. And it's not for nothing. And we're not going to not do this. Nothing can stop it. So the future is bright. Don't let them tell you it's dark. That's called the black pill, right? I'm going to take the red pill to wake up, the blue pill to go back to sleep, and the black pill is the one that's like, you know, why even bother? You know? So avoid that black pill and don't feed into that energy because it's like a black goo. And the moment you eat, it's like the narcissist, you know, if you've ever gotten an argument, you think maybe you can talk it through with a narcissist. No, right? You can't even engage because the moment you engage, they hook you in and steal your energy, you know, and that's exactly what the black goo is trying to do right now. It's their last game. It's all they've got, you know, but those structures of control are dismantling. You can feel it and we got to run with it. So, with all of our personal planets involved right now, we are right at this crux and it's all squaring energies and we're going to feel these energies through the weekend. Mars square the nodes almost for this whole next week. And this is a lot of tension about moving forward and a mutable square because Mars wants to go. In Virgo, though, it's got a lot to sort out. And what's happening, too, is that what's becoming clear as we're facing all these lies on multiple levels is a concept that is very disturbing, but also could be very helpful to break out of the trap. In that these stories that we've been playing out, it's like this picture of like, oh my gosh, supernova souls, lifetime after lifetime, coming and trying to heal a karmic narrative, like say the Atlantean catastrophes or that type of thing played out again and again for you. And here you are trying to heal these narratives and taking on all this dark feeling and regret and responsibility and all this. And then something's going on here where it's like, you know, what if that's just a contrived narrative and you can spend eternity trying to heal a contrived narrative, right? What if it never happened? And then what if what really happened where you were fully using your gifts and skills and these experiences you've had as a soul where you were like more fully in your power and using your talents? What if those stories were buried? So we have like, there's no way out right now besides like facing the fact that we're in a psychological trap. And that because we know quantum physics is proven that reality doesn't exist unless we think it does. So we better start thinking about a reality, you know, and the power of the mind. So this is this Virgo energy that can really work for us right now. It's like sort it out and leave it behind and take only what resonates as truth in the moment. Because this is a big thing that's gotten us stuck, is that in all this mutable energy with the nodes and mutable signs and mutable squares and Mercury retrograde, this all in those eclipses and everything, it's just like a complete lack of direction. But that complete lack of direction is because we have a whole new world. We have a whole new reality. We have, you know, it's completely different. So we have to figure out how to navigate in a completely different way. And that's why we've been going in circles. And also we're kind of in this in-between limbo place. sitting here in limbo. I've had about enough of it. How about you? But here we are back in a very powerful, mutable square with Mars. Mars is just like, get on with it, you know? Mars in Virgo says, so what's the problem? Clean it up. You know, guess what? You bought into bullshit. Stop buying into it, right? But there's a very important energy coming forward around a compassion for humanity and for ourselves for going through this psychic cleansing right now. And it's really hard to see how many people are completely asleep and really buying into the narrative, right? Like, I don't care about you guys, but I'm going to wear my mask, you know, and I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to be a good person. And it's like, well, did you see those big gaps of air that come in there? And did you know there's like nanotechnology in there, and it's like you're breathing it in, and then it's like creating more microbes. And have you checked the science? No. But then there's this righteous moral superiority, you know, that they're a better person, you know. And it's like a pride in, you know, and it's like, no. You are thinking you're a better person because that's of what it's all about, what other people see you as. And that has nothing to do with your, you know, coming back to this revolution of wealth, right? And it's like, show me one piece of science that thing actually works. These microbes are tiny, microscopic, you know, and the box itself, it says they don't work. And in slavery, traditionally, mind control and slavery, they use this technique of an mask to show submission. So great, go ahead and be proud of yourself for submitting to control and the satanic ritual. We got to get real with what's going on, right? But then there's this other thing that's going on. It's like, oh my gosh, how do you stay awake? You know, how can you handle this when there's such this level of sleepiness and mind control, and reality and truth and facts just have no bearing. It's only what comes through that big brother box, right? The television, right? We show you what we want you to think and feel. Programming, right? But the only reason, this is something that might be helpful right now, it's like, okay, the only reason that humanity got this far into their dupedness is because they trust. And the only reason that they can't see the truth right now is because they're so naive and trusting. And we've all been through this, right? This is what you played out as supernova soul in past lives. Every time you trusted the wrong person because you have a heart. And that heart and that trust and that naivety and that love and that compassion of the human has been used against us to keep us as slaves. But that human compassion unleashed back in its rightful avenue of expression is a power that this world has not yet seen. And so we need to keep our faith in humanity, in that it was our love and our trust that got us here. And that love and trust is going to bring us back together. Nothing can stop it. The future is bright. There's no other way. There's no other way forward. So do not let those dark, gooey programs get into your psyche. Hold that light, you know, sort it through. Be present in the moment. Don't worry about, it's weird because Mars square the nodes is like, pick a lane, figure out where you're going, take a direction, get out of this trap, right? And then, but with the nodes, it's like future karma, past karma, or how do we get moving forward and what's holding us back? And then, so maybe it's the delusions of the Piscean age, which is the false narrative. And as long as we buy into those stories, we're going to keep those stories alive, right? So that means we got to drop everything because we don't know. There's, you know, we don't know up from down or left and right from right now. Everything is backwards and upside down. And so we got to drop all of it and each moment live and be born anew. And just it's like, this is the different way to navigate, is to claim your psychological vibration, show up in the moment, be true in this living truth. That's the only thing that's going to get us through, because all this contrived stuff is layers and layers of like some truth and a whole bunch of lies, you know. So we got to find that truth within us right now. And so we've got Mercury opposite Jupiter, Mercury at the end degrees of Leo, across from Jupiter at the end degrees of Aquarius, being like, how do we expand into this new paradigm? How do we get back our divine plan? How do we claim back our potential? And that is through recognizing our individual God light, which is exactly what this Leo energy has been about. A big spotlight. Hey, you guys, this is you. And are you going to start acting like it? And so really interesting times, and just sitting tight with these energies and being in that new way to navigate in that living truth. The other thing that's going on here the next couple days is that Venus is opposing Neptune in Pisces. And this is like, the energy of this is like coming with all the other astrology, is like the rescue, the final rescue of the feminine, you know, like the helicopter is going to swoop down and pick her up, get her out of that jungle solitude, you know. And both are masculine and feminine, have been stuck in regret and solitude and disconnection, you know, within us. It has to do with a long held agenda to keep our right and left brain separated. So Virgo, Venus and Mars and Virgo, and having these intense transits is speaking about like, hey, it's time for that divine union. Let's get into the celebration of the divine union, of this sacred marriage that's happening on our planet, us as the bride, you know, prepared to come back into union and to be born again into our wholeness. So really powerful, because it's like Venus is going up against the lies and delusions and those old stories. And it's like, rescue her, get her out of there. Those are all lies. What if they're all lies? How can you keep healing karma that's lies? And Mars square the nodes says we got to pick a lane, we got to go, but it's a completely different way of navigating. And it's so uncomfortable because we can't see around the corner, but we have to know and have that faith that the only reason we're going through all this is because of a better future. And don't let those energies tell you any different. That dark agenda has no roots. It cannot hold. It's got to play out on some level, right? Another word, it's a lot of people associate this time that we're in with the time of revelation. And what revelation means is a revealing. And another word that's used for revelation is evidence. So we're in the living proof of this dark agenda that's been going on for a long time in order to get out from under it. And that's what we're doing. We're getting out from under it. We're dropping it. We can't go that way anymore. So try to keep that in mind. Really powerful. The other thing that's going on that's so sweet over the next few days is that, you know, Venus has the opposite with Neptune, but then comes right into a sweet trine with Pluto. And Venus trine opposite Neptune, rescued, but trine Pluto is saying coming back into her authority, right? That's that sacred marriage. These enlightened cultures of the past that lived communally and lived in a way beyond their time. It was all about a perfect balance between the masculine and the feminine. It wasn't like cut and dry, women do this, men do this. It was like there's always two leaders, and it's always about balancing the masculine and feminine in every activity, you know, and living in a community based on this sacred union. And that's what brings harmony and peace and potential and growth and wealth and all of it. So we're starting over on a fundamental level of, you know, rebuilding reality right here in our heart. And so really, really again, the astrology just continues to be so powerful. But can you rescue that feminine and bring her back onto her throne, and allow your intuition? Maybe that's part of this feeling stuck and can't navigate, because we have to come back into that sacred marriage is like the creative thinking, true creative thinking, which is that masculine action, will thinking and direction, and then the feminine intuition, feeling it out. So this is a big energy that message coming through. Like, how do we navigate in these times? You got to be present and feel it out in the moment, which is exactly that alignment with your truth. But truth changes, but there's the truth here. And that's exactly this bright future that's coming. And you know it. You are so powerful, and you've gone through so much, and you went through lifetimes of hell for this time. And you made it. You're here. So sit tight, breathe, take care of yourself, clean house, clean your body, sort out those old stories, and be in the light of truth, knowing that that's the only way forward. And you are here as a torch to lead the way, and thank God. So love to you, supernova souls. Have a wonderful week, and bask in the light of this Leo energy that has just flooded the earth, and in that, grab onto that hope and that knowing that the future is better. And that's the whole point of what we're doing. It's not the end, it's the beginning. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful week. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.